Hi guys, welcome back to today's video. This video is for you if you've tried starting over, and this could be in business, fitness, habits, or even your mindset. And you swore that this time around it will be different, but somehow you end up back to square one. I don't want to say this, but you don't need another miracle strategy. You just need, and you don't need more motivation. What you need is to understand why you keep resetting and how you can break that cycle for good. Because my truth, and I hope you find some insight in it, is that when I was stuck in that loop for years, I realized that it wasn't because I wasn't disciplined, maybe a little bit enough, maybe a little bit. But again, it wasn't more from that side. But what I realized that I was missing was my identity, right? My identity, how I show up as me, as Alan in the world, as a man, as a friend, as a brother, and so on. And also as a business owner. So I had to kind of like nail that. And I used to get hyped about new goals, new shiny objects that are coming online. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is my session. I would make plans and stay consistent for like a few weeks, but then I would crash. Either I got busy life because life happens, or I would lose the confidence, or I would start comparing my results to someone else's highlight reel. And it's stupid to say, but guys, to be honest, in the world that we're living in, comparison is a real thing. And sometimes you hear people say that on YouTube or like in the reels, and you're like, stop comparing yourself as like, I'm strong enough. There is no way I can compare myself. I'm strong. But every single time you do that, we human beings, it's part of our behavior and our psychology. But every time I would quit, I felt more heavier because starting over isn't just about momentum. It's about self-trust. Every time you break a promise to yourself, it really chips away at your belief that you can do it again. And that's when I realized I wasn't bad at following through. I was addicted to resetting. And it's stupid to say that, but it's real. I was addicted to resetting because it felt safer than failing publicly or even privately. Sometimes we set goals as like, oh, I'll finish this or I'll do this in this X amount of time. But the reality is that when you don't, there isn't enough I don't want to use the word punishment. I don't want to use the word punishment. That's quite very big, but there is nothing to reinforce the wins and the failures, right? So here's the kicker. I kept thinking, once I hit my goal, then I'll be consistent. But consistency doesn't come from success. It's what builds it, if that makes sense. I really had to face like really hard truth. I didn't need to work better. I didn't need to work harder. I just needed to work smarter and slower. And when I say slower, I mean in terms of in terms of showing grace to myself. That's being slower, right? Because I tried all the different means like go, 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 but really nothing. I produced nothing. So to build a routine that could survive bad days, low energy, and self-doubt. Imagine executing a task when you feel like you don't want to. Now imagine you executing that same task when you have all the motivation and the discipline in the world that you can possibly have. That means you're going to do it 10 times better. So here's what changed for me. Instead of chasing big wins, I started chasing small proof. The compound effect, I think, definitely became my blueprint. Tiny daily actions build confidence and then rebuild my identity. In terms of like, if I was to describe myself, who's Alan, without me being in the room, that identity would echo outside beyond, because that's how strong I really have rebuilt my identity. So how I started this 10K sprint, not from the hype, but from proof. Each video, each system, and each client conversion is evidence, not for someone who's watching this, but for me, right? I'm no longer waiting for motivation. I'm building momentum with structure. And once you start doing that, something powerful happens. You stop asking, can I really do it? And that shifts into this is who I am, right? Again, ding, 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 identity, right? So if you keep starting over, here's what I would want you to do today. And I have 3 things for you. And the last one is probably the most effective one, or that I love, that I really completely changed everything. So stop chasing motivation. It's a lie. It disappears when you need it the most. Believe me, I've been there. And I know so many people preach about motivation and that you can't rely on motivation, but it's true. You really can't. Motivation only amplifies the discipline that you've already built, right? So start doing that. And then second, start small. Focus on one simple action that builds belief and not burn out. I'll give a really good example for myself. You know, we do exercise our bodies because it's good for our body. And sometimes you may not understand what it is, but the benefits are there. It's just there, right? And then I realized that I wasn't really focusing. I would get distracted easily when I'm doing work. However much I have nothing distracting me, but I would still find my mind wandering everywhere. So what I decided to do was again, I started doing research in terms of like, okay, how do you get focused? How do we train the brain to focus on one task at a time? And I thought that multitasking was a good thing, but I found out that it's not. Multitasking it's definitely a process in a disaster. So yeah, I definitely had to let that go. So every day, the goal is to do 12 minutes of meditation. So what I'm doing right now, I've started with just 5 minutes every day in the morning. When I finish, taking a shower and all that stuff, before I put in coffee, I sit down and start meditating. And it's so hard, but I start with a small thing, or the small direction, which is just concentrating on the air that goes within my nose, and the breath and the air that also comes out of my mouth. And that small win, when I'm done with it, just like 5 minutes, such a beautiful win. It's like I've really accomplished so much. Within all throughout the day, literally, my brain would bring me back to the task, even though my mind would wander everywhere. But if I have a task to complete, I would absolutely go back to that task. So that's a small win. So start with small wins, right? So the third one, which is my favorite, is accountability. I've really preached about accountability. You can't grow in isolation. You get in rooms where consistency is normal, right? And that's why I'm building this 10K sprint, not to just make money, but also to prove what's possible when you build structure around belief. Okay. So if this has really hit home, you're probably in the same place where I was, tired of winging it, tired of chasing hype, ready to build something sustainable. Follow this journey, because I'm documenting exactly how I'm creating these systems that really make success inevitable and not optional. So thank you again for watching today's video, and see you tomorrow. Cheers.